trying to predict the 2025 Formula 2 driver lineup. Want to take this a bit step by step. The current drivers here, and then we have the contenders who are the current F3 drivers. Let's go team by team. And let's start with ART and Victor Martins. Victor Martins is, if he drives in 2020-25, he will be a third season driver, and he's not so young anymore by Formula 2 standards. However, I'll predict that I see that he would want to stay, because the thing is, right, 2023 was his rookie year. He impressed. He thought he'd be driving for the title this year. 2024, ART have really struggled with the new regulations, and the car isn't underneath him, and he'll want to prove what he can do before he leaves Formula 2. The only question is, are Alpine willing to continue funding him driving at this level? So that's the question. But for now, I assume that Victor Martins will want to stay. Coming to Zach O'Sullivan, I think Zach O'Sullivan wants to prove himself in Formula 2, and he has been very quick in the past. He's a race winner this year, but I don't think ART are going to keep the same lineup. They have 3 drivers in Formula 3. So there's Nikola Solov. Despite a slow start, he's finished the year strongly with a couple of wins. Top 10 in the championship despite missing the Spa round. Then there's Christian Mansell, who has slowly but surely made a name for himself as a front runner in Formula 3. And Lawrence Van Hoopen, the rookie, who has held his own against more experienced teammates with a few sprint race podiums. I expect Lawrence Van Hoopen to stay in F3. To me, it's between Solov and Mansell for the other ARTC. Depends. Will Alpine want to have 2 juniors in the same team? Maybe. I'm just going to go with the Martins-Solov lineup at ART. I don't think Zach O'Sullivan will want to stay with that team. He will want to find another team where it's going strongly. So if Solov is gone from the contenders list, he's made it into the main team. He's been very impressive in Formula 3 this year, especially in the second half of the season. Now coming to Prema, the current lineup is Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Oliver Behrman. They both will almost certainly be in F1 next year. That's it. There's no more discussion about these 2 drivers being in F2. Prema have had a very difficult season, but they are the premier junior team in the junior series, and I think the big teams still want to use Prema for their juniors. So if I look here, Gabriele Minis an Alpine junior, Dino Beganovic is a Ferrari junior, Arvid Lindblad is a Red Bull junior. So I'm almost certain Arvid Lindblad, there's a lot of hype around him at the moment, so I'm sure he'll be at Prema next year. Now, between Beganovic and Mini, you could argue that Gabriele Mini's had a better season than Beganovic. But I think because Prema usually have big teams putting their drivers there, so because Beganovic is a Ferrari junior, I suspect that Beganovic will be going to Prema next season. And I believe the 2025 Formula 2 Prema lineup will be Arvid Lindblad and Dino Beganovic. I think Lawrence Van Hoopen will stay in Formula 3. I think Gabriele Mini is going to remain a contender because he wants to move up to Formula 2. He almost certainly will. Then we come to Roden. Now this is a tough one. Zane Maloney has been quite quick, but quite inconsistent this season at Roden. It's his second season, and I have a question mark in my mind whether he will continue. Next to him is Ratomo Miyata. Ratomo Miyata is Toyota backed, so I don't think money will be an issue. His results probably haven't been what he or Toyota would have liked. It's very difficult for Miyata in his first season, doesn't know any of the tracks. He's been racing in Japan, so I think he needs more time. But do Rodin want to keep Miata? Probably for the right price. Now, coming to their Formula 3 drivers, I don't think Piotr Wisnicki or Joseph Loke have shown that they are ready for Formula 2. So I don't consider them contenders. However, Callum Voisin has won the Belgian Formula 3 feature race. He did a really good job in wet and dry conditions. He also did a really good job at Silverstone. He's come on strong. Rodin very close with Callum Voisin. They brought him to Formula 3 from the GB3 Championship. The question is, do they consider Callum Voisin ready for the Formula 2 Rodin team? And will Zane Maloney stay? If Zane Maloney doesn't win the Formula 2 Championship in 2024, will he go back for a third shot? That is the question at hand. Do Rodin want to see how Ritomo Miata will progress in his second season in Formula 2? I think that's very tough to answer those questions, and of course they might consider drivers from other teams. Maybe Christian Mansell or Zach O'Sullivan or Gabriel Mini is on their radar, but we'll leave that for now. Coming to Dams, we've got Juan Manuel Correa and Jack Crawford. Jack Crawford is in his second season. He seems to be getting faster all the time, but it's not lost on me that he's still very young. He's only just turned 19. He's shown that he can win feature races in Formula 2. And I don't see why he shouldn't go for a third season. As for Juan Manuel Correa, he's done 2 seasons now since returning to F2. Considering everything, he's done a good job. Dams don't have a corresponding Formula 3 team. They will from next season, but at the moment there's Genza there. I don't think either Max Esterson or Matthias Zagazzetta are ready for Formula 2. They're both rookies. If they have money, I'm sure they can do another season in Formula 3. Charlie Wurtz, I think we'll see in Formula 2 at some stage. I'm not sure if we're going to see him in 2025 or if his family will kick that can down the road to 2026. He might still be in play. I really don't know with Juan Manuel Correa, because he might just think, well, I'm here, why not one more year? If I've got enough funding to do it, I'll do it. And Jack Crawford, I really don't see why he can't do another season in Formula 2. I really can't. Even if he wins next season, he's still only going to be 20 years old. So he should have some doors open to him. Maybe not the doors that he wants open, but if he's part of the Aston Martin Academy, I mean, Fernando Alonso is going to retire someday. If that team is unable to secure the driver they want, is there a chance for Jack Crawford? Probably not. But he might be a reserve driver for a while. Assess options in World Endurance Championship, IndyCar, Super Formula, Formula E. I'm not sure. But I think he should do another season in Formula 2. Should he stay with Dams? Well, it seems to be working at the moment. It's very hard to predict the Formula 2 pecking order for next season and how people perceive it. But I think we have to make a decision. So I'm going to say Correa might be in his last season. Jack might be staying. Now, I'll leave this for the moment. Dams and Invicta that I'm coming to are one of those teams, the drivers that aren't necessarily being promoted from F3 to F2 with their own team might consider Invicta or Dams because they don't currently have their own F3 team. Now in Invicta, I don't really see Kush Maini staying at that team. He might stay in Formula 2, but I don't believe he will be staying at Invicta. This is one of the top teams in Formula 2. I also don't think Gabriel Bortoleto... it's hard to say with Bortoleto. The thing is, if Bortoleto finishes championship runner-up, he can always return next year, because unless he gets a gig at Audi, there's no seat in him for Formula 1. It's only his first season, he can come back next year and win the championship, keep himself in that shop window for a Formula 1 drive. So I'm just going to say that Bortoleto, he most likely stays at Invicta. I don't see why, if he doesn't get the drive at Audi, there's no point for him to go anywhere else. Kush Maini, I'm putting him back in the contenders list. Now coming to MP Motorsport, this is Dennis Hauger's third year. He's been beaten by rookie Franco Colapinto, although they are basically the same age, but this is his third season. He should have an edge over Colapinto. He doesn't. The Red Bull backing is gone. Hauger is out. Colapinto is doing 9 races with Williams Formula 1 team at the end of this season, but there's no seat for him in Formula 1 next year. So he's going back into the contenders pile. I'm not sure if he's going to remain with MP. And then moving on to Van Amersfoort, Enzo Fittipaldi. He's done 3.5 seasons. He's not really improving, so to me his time in the sport will come to an end. Rafael Villagomez is probably well funded, but it doesn't mean he'll be remaining with Van Amersfoort. Now, Noel Leon is very fast in Formula 3. The start of the season was a bit shaky, but as the season's gone on, he's just gotten faster and faster. Now, his two teammates in Formula 3 are a lot slower than him. Tommy Smith is in his second season and Sophia Flörsch has been there for quite a while. They're not getting faster, but I know Tommy Smith is well funded. As for Sophia Flörsch, some team in F2 might think it's good for marketing to have a female driver, so watch this space. Coming to High Tech, I don't think Paul Aaron will be returning. This is a do or die situation for Paul Aaron. He's running out of funding and he might have a reserve driver role in Formula 1 waiting for him. I don't see him going back to F2 next year. He may. Someone might stump up the money for him to do another season. It's only his first year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's not there. As for Emery Cordeel, he's probably very well funded, so I'm just going to leave him in the contenders column. I'm almost certain Luke Browning is going to be driving for High Tech Formula 2 team. He's fighting for the championship with them in F3. He seems to gel well with the team, so him moving straight up to the Formula 2 team, especially since they have a good handle on the new ground effects era, that makes sense. So there's a spot next to him now. I'm going to throw a curveball here. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to put Gabriele Mini next to him. Now, why am I doing that? Gabriele Mini drove for High Tech in his first season of Formula 3. He did switch to Prema for his second season, and that's paying dividends. However, if he has enough funding, he'll want to be in a team that he thinks gives him a better opportunity. He already knows High Tech. Prema have been struggling. I can see a Luke Browning and Gabriele Mini line up at High Tech. Coming to Campos, Isaac Hadjar is probably going to win the 2024 Formula 2 season. Even if he doesn't, I don't think Red Bull are going to send him back for a third season. So, reserve driver, Super Formula, whatever it is in his future, this is his last season in F2 almost certainly. I can see Jose Maria Marti, also known as Pepe Marti, wanting to do a second season. Whether that's with Red Bull funding or if they drop him because he's not having the season he wanted, I'm not sure. Maybe he's not staying with Campos. Now, let's have a look at some of these F3 drivers. Charlie Wirtz might have enough funding for an F2 drive. I won't count him out. Casper Stuck I'm going to take off the table. Tim Tramnitz has Red Bull backing, but I don't know how long he's going to keep that. Alex Dunn has McLaren backing. He hasn't really shone in F3. He'll probably do another season in F3. As I said, Tommy Smith and Sophia Flörsch, they might be able to purchase a seat in Formula 2. As for Chian Shields, I absolutely see no way that he will make a step up to Formula 2. And I'm not sure he's going to stay in Formula 3. He's really struggled. He might do a second season of Formula 3. Martini Stenshorn doesn't look to be ready for Formula 2. He has McLaren backing. Mari Boyer is not an academy driver. He might have his own funding and try and get his buy a seat in Formula 2. But I'm not sure about that. Sebastian Montoya, obviously, his father probably wants to get him a seat in Formula 2. Now we come to Trident. Trident are very interesting because they're very fast in Formula 3, but they're slow in Formula 2. They're not competitive. I don't know if slow is the right word. We've seen a couple of years recently where drivers who have been quick with Trident and F3 step up to Formula 2 with Invicta, and I predict Leonardo Fornaroli will drive for Invicta next year after impressing this year with Trident. I think he's too good a driver to be with the Trident Formula 2 team. I'm almost certain Roman Stanek won't be there in Formula 2 next year. Richard Verschoor, this is his 4th season, so him also. Roman Stanek doesn't even look that motivated at the moment. There was one race earlier this year where he wanted to retire the car. It was a healthy car, but he just didn't feel any motivation to carry on. And the team told him to stay out. I don't see him there being there next year. Verschoor has done his time. I don't think Sammy Megatunov or Santiago Ramos will be stepping up to Formula 2 either. I don't think either of them are ready. So that leaves us with one last team. Now, congratulations to Taylor Barnard. In 2025 he'll be a Formula E driver. So he most certainly will not be participating in Formula 2. Joshua Dirksen has the backing of Paraguay behind him, done a lot better than expected. I'd like to see him get a chance with a better team, but I'm not sure that'll happen, so I could see Joshua Dirksen remaining with AIX Racing. Now, to me, the most sensible course of action for AIX next year is to put Nikita Bedrin, who has consistently outperformed their Formula 3 machinery, to put him into the Formula 2 team. I'm not sure that's actually going to happen because sometimes these teams just put in the driver that puts up the most funding. So for the moment, Niels Coughlan is replacing Taylor Barnard at Monza, is a very poor driver. So seeing him in the AIX is very disappointing, but I want to leave Nikita Bedrin there because the positive thing about AIX, even if they don't put the drivers that they tend to support in their own car, they sometimes loan them out to other teams. We saw that in 2023 when AIX were loaning Barnard and Bedrin out to Genza. I don't think Bedrin will do a 3rd season of Formula 3. AIX might support him to strive with another team. As for Inthra Zak and Josh Defect definitely won't get a promotion to Formula 2 unless he has a lot of funding. Inthra Zak, I don't want to completely count him out. These drivers here are the obvious choices, and these are the contenders that are still there. Let's count it up. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 seats, and my contenders are Zach O'Sullivan, Mansell, Voisin, Maloney, Miata, Crawford, Money, Wirtz, Tremnitz, Colapinto, Noel Leon, Villa Gomez, Smith, Flursh, Cordeal, Goethe, Boyer, Marty, Montoya, Bedrin and Inthra Zak. So it's more than 13, so not all of these drivers will get a seat. I think Zach O'Sullivan, with the Williams backing, I think he's a very strong contender to get a good car. Question is, what is a good car? To me, the best 2 teams at the moment look to be Invicta, Hi-Tech. Prema's going to come back, but Prema and Hi-Tech, in my opinion, are not going to be available for Zach O'Sullivan. I can see two possible destinations for him. I can see him either going to Dams or Campos. Just trying to think which one makes more sense. I'm just going to go with Dams. I just think Zach O'Sullivan already has experience in working in a French team. I think Dams is a good fit for him, and they've shown that they can have a fast car. I think Luke Browning in a high-tech, Zach O'Sullivan in a Dams, that'll be a very good year for Williams in F2. Now the drivers remaining, Zane Maloney, will he want to stay with Roden? Maybe he needs a change of scene. What about Ratomo Mayata? There are other drivers here that are obviously looking for somewhere else to go. So Marty is probably still going to be backed by Red Bull next year, because other than Arvid Lindblad, as for Goethe, he's going to be driving in the MP Formula 2 car to replace Franco Colapinto. I can see Jack Crawford as well. Right, so there's a strong driver still on the table here in Jack Crawford. Is he going to go to Roden? Where will Jack Crawford go? There's Campos, there's MP, there's still a seat at Dams. It's very hard to say. What about Kush Moiney? I'm sure that he has enough funding to remain in Formula 2, but maybe he gets another offer somewhere in sports cars or somewhere, I don't know. Someone's got to go. Someone's going to run out of options and they're going to end up at Trident. It's very tough, but I'm just going to say I sort of see Jack Crawford staying at Dams. I really do. I don't see why, unless he can go to Invicta. That'd be the only reason for Jack Crawford to leave Dams, is if he could get a seat at Invicta. I think Goethe is probably going to end up back at Campos. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jose Maria Marti and Goethe as their Campos lineup next year, just because they're Red Bull backed. Campos seem to be working with Red Bull at the moment. Now, has Omri Cordial done enough to show that he's a good developer? Omri Cordial has done a lot of testing, a lot of mileage in the testing. They've got a good car. Other teams are going to say, well, this guy's not very good, but maybe he helps to develop the car. And he's got plenty of money. I'll sit on it for a bit longer. Colapinto, to my mind, will stay at MP. Christian Mansell will probably end up somewhere. He's Australian, rode in an Australian team. Maybe Christian Mansell will end up at Roden. What about Ratomo Mayata? I look at Tremnitz, I'm thinking, are you ready for Formula 2? You're not in the top 10 in Formula 3, so I think maybe Tremnitz is doing another season in Formula 3. Zane Maloney, is he going to stay? Noel Leon could also be a... Noel Leon has done a very good job, so I'm just going to put Noel Leon in that MP car. I'm sure he has enough money for that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up at Van Amersfoort. Maybe Christian Mansell is not really on the radar of some of these teams. He might end up at Van Amersfoort. They want one good driver and one pay driver. Are they going to go for two Australians? Are they going to have Mansell and Smith? Probably not. Will it be Villa Gomez? Will it be Cordial? Unless he's got a lot of money, I don't see Charlie Wirtz making it. Sebastian Montoya will want to move up to one of these seats. I'm going to go Sebastian Montoya for Trident. Surely his father will find funding for him. Does Murray Boyer have enough money to move up to Formula 2? I'm not sure. Sophia Flörsch, I'm not sure. I could see Tommy Smith going to Van Amersfoort Formula 2 team, because he brings the money. I'm just going to go and put Bedrin in the AIX, but I don't think so. I think he might end up in another team somehow. But I think he deserves that promotion to Formula 2 with AIX, to Zandvoort pole. So we've got a few drivers here that bring money. Intrafuva Zach, Cordeal, Villa Gomez. I think Intrafuva Zach will do another season in Formula 3. So we've got 3 seats left. 2 at Rodin, 1 at Trident. Because Chris Miney has struggled a bit against Bortoleto. Is he going to go to Trident, or would he actually end up somewhere else? Rodin, are they going to stick with Ritomo Miata? I'm sure Toyota are going to open their wallets. They will surely want to give him another season. I'm not sure it's going to be with Rodin. Is Zane Maloney going to stay, or is he going to become a reserve driver? I don't know. To me, I don't see what benefit he's got to leaving, but I don't know where he's going to go. But then I don't see the benefit of him staying either. If he can't win the Formula 2 championship in his 3rd season, it's it for him, so I'm not sure if Voisin and Miata is really going to happen, but I can see Voisin going to Rodin. Miata, maybe. There's 1 seat left. It's between Cordeal, Miney and Villa Gomez. I think Villa Gomez could do another Formula 2 season too. Kush, Miney, Cordeal. I'm just going to go with Villa Gomez at Trident. I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone who we don't expect, maybe it's going to be Niels Coulin or someone who you don't even think about, is going to end up in this car instead of Nikita Bedrin. But to me, Bedrin's the most deserving, so this is a bit tentative, but most of them I feel quite good about. I think ART will definitely be Martin and Solov. Prema is going to be Lindblad and Boganovic. Rodin, Callum Voisin will probably be there in the F2 team. If he's not, it'll probably still be Zane Maloney. I don't see why they're going to drop Miata. If Toyota bring the money, there's no reason for them to drop Miata. He does have a lot of promise. He's shown flashes of improvement. He just needs to get used to the tracks, used to the European way of working. He will improve. Damn, so I can see Zach O'Sullivan and Jack Crawford. I don't know why. To me, that just makes sense. Invicta, Fornarola and Gabriel Bortoleto. I'm almost certain, because Bortoleto has nothing to win by leaving Formula 2. If he's not at Audi next season, going to be forgotten about unless he's in that Invicta car fighting for the championship. And then at MP we've got Noel Leon and Franco Colapinto. I don't see why not. Maybe I'd swap Mansell and Leon. But I can see Tommy Smith ending up in the Formula 2 Van Amersfoort team. He has a lot of money. High Tech, Luke Browning and Gabriel Limini. I have a strong feeling that will be their lineup at High Tech next year. Campos, Goethe and Marty. I think the Red Bull links, that's worked this season. Give Marty a second season. Surely he can do better next year. But he might want to change teams. So maybe because the Campos has been so strong this year, we might actually see, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Zach O'Sullivan in the Campos instead of Marty, and Marty ending up at Rodin. Something like that. That would not surprise me. Red Bull have worked with Rodin before, but I'm just going to stick with this for now. Trident, Montoya and Villa Gomez doesn't surprise me. They could put other names there instead of Villa Gomez. Whoever brings funding, Joshua Dirksen, Nikita Bedrin at AIX. Dirksen I'm almost certain will return. Bedrin to me is very 50-50. I think he deserves that promotion, but AIX sometimes go for someone you don't expect. Like, who's Josh Mason? Brad Benavides. You can't really predict this team. I mean, Dirksen himself was an absolute wild card. He's done a lot better than people expected. It's very hard to predict AIX, but they seem loyal to Nikita Bedrin, so I won't be surprised if he is in that team. And I think that sums up my predictions for the 2025 Formula 2 field.